Turning, looking.
It is Game 4 of a weekend series between the Yankees and the Athletics, and the Yankees are looking to ride the right arm of former first-round draft pick Clarke Schmidt to a series win. Plus, Aaron Judge is on the verge of 50 home runs. Would he get it? My recap, your reactions coming up next. This is Yankees Game Night. Yikes. Yikes, yikes, yikes. You know, this team makes me want to puke sometimes. How's it going, everybody? Final game in Oakland of 2022. The Yankees offense actually left town a couple of days ago. The Yanks have got Anaheim next, and then they're done with the West Coast unless they play Seattle in the postseason, but there won't be any more 10 p.m. games after this week, thank goodness. If you missed last night's game, it was horrendous. We didn't do a recap. The offense was stupefyingly bad. It was one of the ugliest games of the entire season. It was up there with that game the Yankees blew against the Reds at home. One hit in 11 innings, a blown save by the bullpen, and losing on a play that should have been made by two of your best defensive players. And today it wasn't much better. This really should be an unacceptable loss to the Yankees players. A split with Oakland is not acceptable for a team that has World Series aspirations. They're throwing literal AAA pitchers out there who have 6+ ERAs, and they're shutting you down? What is happening? You didn't see any emotion out there. You didn't see very many competitive or selective at-bats from the Yankees hitters. And for a lot of this season, pitchers have been working the Yankees batters with high fastballs and then sliders away. But in this series, the A's went down and in with sinkers and then changeups low and away. And they just had the Yankees perplexed. They were not ready for it. So really tough one. Let me get through the recap here, and then we'll go through and take a look at this pitiful box score before we go on to Anaheim. Clarke Schmidt got his second start of the season today. He came in with a 5-2 record, 2.18 ERA, so he'd been pretty effective as a reliever and in his one start. But today, just a different story. 2 runs in the first inning, 2 runs in the second inning, backup sliders, which is when you throw a slider and it doesn't have that good down and away break, it just kind of hangs in there in the middle of the plate. Really a hanging slider, but sometimes it'll back up in the other direction, actually move like it was like a changeup or something like that from a righty. Hanging curveballs, pitches right down the middle. He was just constantly in trouble. He did settle down. He ended up striking out 7 hitters, but he put the team in a big hole early on at a time when the offense has been putrid. The Yankees, who I reiterate, had 1 hit in 11 innings yesterday, didn't get their first hit until the top of the 5th inning, a single by Aaron Hicks. Go figure. First hit for him in 16 days. Let's give him a little Bronx cheer. Later in the inning, a nice 2-out at-bat by Kyle Higashioka. He smoked a base hit to put the Yankees on the board, but that was the end of the scoring for the Yanks. Clarke Schmidt was done after 4 1/3. Final line, 8 hits, 4 runs, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts. Yankees wasted a chance in the top of the 6th inning. To me, this was their best chance of the game. Giancarlo Stanton ripped a base hit, and then Anthony Rizzo picked up kind of an excuse-me hit down the left field line to beat the shift. But he missed first base. It could have been an easy double, but he missed first base, and as he tried to slow down to go back and tag first base, he just tripped over his own feet. Thankfully, he didn't get hurt. But the next batter was DJ LeMahieu, and he bounced into an inning-ending double play.
Double kill.
That was a big play. Big play in the game. A couple of positives. Greg Weissert was one. He was awful in his Major League debut. Just a total meltdown. But today, 6 up, 6 down, 3 strikeouts. His slider was tremendous. Luke Bard was pretty good today. But again, offense did nothing. This one's on the offense. Athletics win 4-1, and the series is a split. Edwin NG says, embarrassing. That's a great way to describe this. Embarrassing. The Yankees should be embarrassed. I'm not embarrassed. We as fans shouldn't be embarrassed. We didn't do it. But the Yankees offense definitely should be embarrassed to be shut down by those 2 guys who are that bad. Maybe they're just, it's one of those cases where the pitchers were so bad that they're good. You know what I mean? Like, the Yankees are so used to seeing great pitchers. They faced Scherzer this week, and they beat him. And then, J.P. Sears was dealing the other night. Caprillion throws hard, but, the Yankees handled him. But these guys, they just they came in with 6+ ERAs, and no one expected them to shut the Yankees down. But they proved that if you pitch your game, good pitching can beat good hitting. It was astoundingly awful the last 2 days. Not So Family Fun Vision says Hicks was fine. Well, at least there's that. So apparently, the Rays won. Boston beat the Rays 5-1. Unless they had a doubleheader here. Nope. Oh, that's yesterday's game. Okay, so I'm just trying to get the scores. I'm trying to see what Houston's doing. Houston won 3-1 over the Orioles. So they extend their home field advantage. Tampa Bay beat Boston 12-4. Blue Jays lost to the Angels 8-3. So all in all, Yankees hurt themselves by not picking up this victory here. All right, let's go to the box score. This was an ugly one. Junior Karoma says, this team is so inconsistent. Tommy Smith says, Rizzo needs to step up. He doesn't get enough heat, in my opinion. So, yeah, Rizzo now hitting .223. He hit one today that I think at Yankee Stadium is probably a home run, but they're not playing at Yankee Stadium. Somebody posted on Twitter a comparison between he, Matt Olson, and Freddie Freeman, and even after Matt Olson's tough start, he's got great numbers now. He's got a higher OPS, and Freeman's hitting like .320 for the Dodgers, just dominating. So, Rizzo's got a player option to come back next season. We'll see if he uses it. A lot of zeros in that hit column once again. Stanton had a base hit. Rizzo had a base hit. Hicks had a base hit. Higashioka had a base hit and an RBI. But, just look at some of these batting averages. Stanton, .226. Rizzo, .223. Donaldson, .222. Hicks, .216. And Higashioka, .195. Is it any wonder that they don't get a lot of hits? This is awful. They need to improve on offense. They really do. If that means calling up another one of the youngsters, Cabrera's done a nice job. But it's not looking good, guys. This offense is looking rough. Schmidt, not a good start today. Banda pitched and got 2 outs. One of them on a strikeout, walked 2 hitters. Weissert went 2 scoreless innings, as we mentioned, and Bard worked a scoreless inning. But tough one. Tough night to be a Yankees fan. Man, this team sometimes, they just take all the life out of watching the game. Lou Rom says it's a mental thing in that dugout. It's starting to look like it. It really is. They didn't show a lot of energy. They didn't show a lot of confidence. A lot of guys just sitting around with their heads down. A lot of guys laughing, really. Looking like they're comfortable. I don't want to see people laugh in the dugout when you got 1 hit in, I think it was like 16 innings at one point. Sam Chrisley says, a roster full of 200 hitters, it's not what you want. Pasha Noble says, so you mean batting average matters? I absolutely think it matters. Now, I hate that it's gotten divided into this debate over, whether it matters or doesn't matter. Every stat matters. Every stat is a data point, right? Some data points hold more value than others. And there's a lot of people who argue that batting average is not a good data point because it treats all hits equally. So, if you get, let's say you go 2 for 10, but your 2 hits are home runs, right? But you go 3 for 10, and the 3 hits are singles. Obviously, the 2 for 10 with 2 home runs is a probably more productive hitter. Going to have more RBIs, more total bases. But I don't know. I just get tired of watching guys hit 200, 220. A lot of other teams have, guys who can hit for power, and they hit for a better average. Although they showed that Benintendi was, I think, 3rd or 4th in the league in average, and there's only a couple of guys hitting over 300 right now. Fritz Walter says, as a Yankee fan, sometimes I'm able to escape into Yankees history. Audiobooks about Mantle, Gehrig, DiMaggio, and others. Nothing to do with this organization, whatever its name was. I'm not sure I got that last part, but I listen to a lot of Yankees audiobooks too. My favorites are The Yankee Years, which was Joe Torre's book about the late 90s dynasty. I don't think it's available on audio, but it might be. My favorite Yankees book is called The Last Night of the Yankees Dynasty. It's by Buster Olney. Fantastic book. Brian Hoke's got a couple of good books on there. I just got Jack Curry's Paul O'Neill book a couple of months ago. That's available as an audiobook. So yeah, escape into a audiobook. FG says, we didn't need Soto. Well, Soto hit a home run today, I believe, number 24 on the season. Look, the Yankees just didn't have what it takes to get Soto. It's not a matter of whether or not we needed him. The Washington Nationals had no interest in the Yankees prospects. Asking Argenis says, why is Lawson still sorry, read that wrong. Why is Lawson still employed? Well, the Yankees do, I think, lead the American League in runs. So, I mean, that's a good thing, right? But they seem to go through these streaks where they just don't score at all against bad pitchers. I don't know how to explain it. That's just baseball. It's weird. George Borman seems to think it's not making adjustments. That could be. Could be. Orlando says a 220 average is the new 260 average. Seems like about right. Yeah. I remember when I was watching in the, late 90s, early 2000s, there was a lot of guys, like an average hitter would be 250, 260. Now it seems like the average hitter is 220, 230. I have no idea what the league batting average is, but it can't be very good. Josh Pedraza says this one is on Boone. Boone can't get in there and hit for these guys. I don't think this is on Boone. This is on the offense. Full stop. You got to hit better against these guys. Parks and Young says this team is going nowhere. The Virginian says the Yankees need to change their hitting philosophy. And Ira Sparrow says the Yankees are boring. I definitely agree on that one.
I wholeheartedly agree.
They can be very boring, especially when they're not hitting home runs, and they just haven't been hitting much lately. Dr. Hitskins wants Volpe to come up and to bat fourth. Jalen says, when does basketball start? How are the Nets looking this year? I saw that Durant wanted to be traded, but then he kind of pulled it back and he's going to stay, but I don't think the Knicks are looking too good. Fritz Walter says, according to analytics department, a split is enough to reach the playoffs. Party time. And then Jesus Vega says, done watching these clowns for a while. I'll wait till the playoffs start and hopefully they make it. Yeah, I think that they'll make it. You still got a pretty decent lead, but you got to put your foot on the gas. We got a tough stretch here. You should be able to beat the Angels, but then you got Tampa Bay. I believe you've got Boston at least a couple of times. Let me see if I can find the Yankees schedule, and we'll go through it. All right. So we got the Angels for the next 3 days, and then the calendar shifts over to September. You got Tampa Bay. They always play you tough, and they're trying to catch you, so that's going to be tough. Then you got the Twins. They're pretty good. And then you got Tampa Bay again, and then the Red Sox. Brewers, not bad. I mean, this is a tough stretch. Should be able to beat the Pirates at home. Should be able to beat the Red Sox at home. But then you got the Blue Jays, who are going to be fighting for a playoff spot. And then the Orioles, who are pretty good, upstart Orioles, before you go play 4 in Texas with the middle day being a doubleheader. I mean, this is not an easy stretch coming up. I'd say you've got to win at least 2 out of 3 against the Angels. I mean, you've got to. You can't have a below average or a below 500 road trip. You lose 2 out of 3 to the Angels, and all of a sudden, you're 3-4 against 2 really pretty bad teams. Not looking good. And then the Rays in Tampa. Tampa's always a house of horrors, not just because they play well, the Rays play well there, but there's always something weird that happens. Your ball hits a freaking catwalk or a railing or something. Just awful. Just awful. Jesus says, character jumping in the air joyfully saying yippee. Oh, he's making a one of those cartoons. Appreciate that. Thank you for the donut. Parks and Young says, fire Cashman, Boone, and all of the coaches. I see a lot of that. Like, I'm glad the Yankees fans don't just get to vote on how often people get fired, because they would go through 2 or 3 managers and GMs a season. Tarek says, remember the 20 hits? Yeah, me neither. 20 hits the other night. Unreal. Did the Yankees hit any home runs in this series besides Judge? I don't think they did, because they didn't score with the 20-hit game, and then Judge hit the 3-run home run, and then yesterday they get 2 runs, but they came on a wild pitch, and then today, 1 run on a base hit. So yeah, Judge had the only home run in this series. Pretty tough. Pretty tough to win that way. Pedro is missing Matt Carpenter because he brings a whole other vibe. 0 energy out there. I agree with you on the energy. Looks tough right now. These guys are just kind of going through the motions. Lori C says, if batting average no longer matters, why do they still name a batting champion? Good question. Ricardo says, and Hal should sell the team. Pasha Noble says, it's harder to hit a home run than it is to get a base hit. Home runs are not team at bats. It's junk science. Appreciate the dono. That's an interesting perspective. I don't really have a way to rebut that. I mean, yeah, it's probably easier to hit base hits, but home runs is junk science is an interesting comment. X-Wing just says, dude, F this team. Yikes. Anthony Segarra says, I hope Mattingly can manage at some point in the season. Great comment. Yeah. I'm a big Donnie baseball guy. Quan Chi says, it's hard to defend this team. It really is. I see that this team has brought out the best moods of our fans. I don't blame it. You guys are ticked, and you have every right to be. This offense has gone MIA the last couple of days. And if you take Judge's home run away against Sears, they really have disappeared for 3 games. I mean, we got to get some guys hitting. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Sam says the A's Twitter account is trolling the Yankees. Let them troll. They're in last place. Their season's going to be over in a couple of weeks. Parks and Young says batting average absolutely matters, and I wholeheartedly agree. Look, the more hits you get matters. That's one of the reasons I like IKF, right? How many times have we seen him come through late in the game with a clutch RBI single, drawn in infield, and he pokes one up the middle. Guys who can barrel up the baseball and just put it in play are important. But also, the Yankees should hit more home runs. I mean, it's been a complete drought with the home runs the last couple of days. Anthony Segarra wants a hedge fund to buy the Yankees. That would be fantastic.
I hardly agree.
Can you imagine unlimited funds with this franchise? FG says, a single with the bases loaded is worth more than a solo home run. Absolutely, 100%. 100%. And Mike Rotunda, with the final word tonight, says, this team is good, but way too inconsistent. Right on the money. Right on the money. All right, guys. Well, this Yankee team has got my energy down a little bit. Got a few hours left in the weekend to make something of it, so I think I'm going to make myself a nice dinner and maybe watch the new Top Gun movie and just kind of try and put the Yankees out of my mind. But we've got the Angels the next 3 days. So, hopefully we can turn it around. We're not going to see Ohtani on the mound. We'll have to face him, so the Yankees are going to have to pitch carefully to him. But the Angels are very beatable. So let's just hope that bigger dugouts and nicer facilities wake up the Yankees bats. I'll see you next time.